Hey guys, how's it going? Failquo here for another tier list. There's been a fair amount of changes in the last patch. Little bounce, updates, and some new cards that I think had a big effect on the tier list. So I'm making a tier list video for new patch from 11.23. And it is going to be now. Sorry, just getting everything ready. But here you can see it. I'll put the link in the description below so you can always just check it out while I'm going over in the video. First, we're going to start with Rebels. And first up, we have our favorite Hera. The thing with Hera, well, I guess what's mostly going to be this about in this video is how people do with ATRT, or how they deal with it as well. So it's going to affect both sides, because right now I think the meta is going to be mass AoE for Rebels, or use ATRT push, and then on Emperor side it's going to be ATSD, and oh my god, I gotta stop the ATRT. Because how things go is the mass AoE deck is going to be weak to the ATSD, but the ATSD is going to be weak to the ATRT, but the ATRT is going to be weak to the holy crap, I gotta stop the ATRT deck, while the holy crap, I gotta stop the ATRT decks are going to be weak to the AoE deck. So it's going to be kind of like a vicious circle going around. Because for me, at least, how I figure stopping the ATRT is use a whole bunch of small minions, like a few tanky ones, some DPS, and then you push back. But that is super weak to AoE. So that's why for the Rebels I have Hera number 1, because she is good at both. With Chopper, you can use ATRT and you'll be fine, or with her ability you still have access to tons of AoE and tons of damage that's just basically free. You're still good against ATST with Chopper. All the new tech stuff, you still got Chopper. Her ability still does tons of damage. So she's number 1 for Rebels, I think, by a fair margin. We'll see how things go. Next up, we got a climber. I think 40 Luke. 40 Luke was already good with the tank, and tank was kind of mediocre. He was good in the meta, but overall, like, it was a little rough. But now these are basically 40 Luke's unique. You can protect them so well. Nerve gas isn't as big of an issue anymore, which was one of the reasons what kept them down, was because you just get everything would get wrecked by nerve gas, and you'd just be sitting here trying to jump around, and you'd be super slow. But now with these guys, the ATRTs, you don't have to worry about nerve gas. These guys are going to push through it. You don't have to worry about big AoE. You do tons of damage attack stuff, which is all running around for Empire. So he definitely moves up a lot. Next up, we got Rey. I think Rey's super good here. I know some people are like, but nobody's running tech. If you can somehow find a way to like snaggle the set bonus, you reduce damage by units by 8%. And she's definitely using ATRT because it goes towards her passive, or the set, sorry. And then these things are taking 8% less damage minimum. It's sick. If people start using organics, you just pull out the organics, you just take them over, turn the tide for free, basically. You get free energy. She can also heal if she gets low. She's super nice. She's just like all around jack of all trades, and the new card suits her so well. So good, because you can get out in front of it and block as well too. It was kind of a toss-up between her and 40 Luke for which spot it was going to be in, mostly because it depends on the tech. So there's more tech running around, so you're gonna have 40 loop being a little bit better. If it ends up being more organics running around, Ray's gonna end up being better. But right now, those are the top 3. Finally, this is a little... I wasn't quite sure. It's between her and then Yoda. But I think Chin is still a little bit better than Yoda. You don't really have to worry about nerve gas too much. It kind of sucks for your snipe, but she's really good at protecting these things, especially with POW behind it. You can snipe stuff behind these things, the ATRTs. And she can still snipe towers. She does tons of melee damage. That's one thing about the ATRTs. They tank a lot, so Jin can actually get in there and start meleeing away, which is really good. Her passive doesn't affect it because it's only organics, but still. You get some range behind these guys, and it's going to do crazy damage. So, that's it for the S tiers. Like I said, Yoda's really close. He kind of got knocked down this week, but we'll go to the A tier. These next couple of ranks are going to be a little weird. It's basically like A and B are basically the same. It's like A1 and A2. But the biggest thing with Yoda is you can't really... You're using ATRTs or you're using Mace. And I think Mace is a lot better than ATRTs. You kind of get hurt by nerve gas and AoE and stuff. But I think everybody's going to be too worried about the ATRTs. And you're going to be able to kind of do that AoE thing that I was talking about. Because Mace is pretty good AoE, and then he's got the follow-up. And you're still good against ATSCs, because Mace is pretty good against those. So he's really close to S. You never know, it might change. Because he did get a little bit of a buff. He got a little bit more attack power, and then this does 350. But I still don't think that's enough to overtake Shin at the moment. Next up, we got Han. Han just all around, like, I don't think he's ever going to be bad. I don't think he's ever going to be top tier. But he's always really good. His crit, his mind's really good. It's one of those things you can always run in with ATRTs, and you can mine some stuff while they're taking the brunt of the damage. You might even be able to fit Chewie in with these, and then have Chewie taunt stuff and like the hero or the organic stuff, and take it away from ATRTs. But he's still really good, just not up there. We got Bodhi up next, who, like, 20% more health on these things could be insane. I still think the problem with Bodhi is it can be hard to push with him. Even with these, because you don't really have much follow-up with your hero. U-Wing, I think we'll see more play, just because U-Winging everything in front of these guys is going to be insane. I guess, like, you can compare... I think this will probably end up doing more damage, but... It does 642 damage to Rebels, but... You kind of want to have this level 4, because it's going to do, like, 700 damage. And if you're playing these, you want these to be damaging the turret while you just clear out everything in front. So, the extra 1 energy is going to be pretty big, I think, between U-Wing and the bomber. But we'll see how it goes. This guy can move up to... I just think it's... Simple story with Bodhi is... He still can't always push that well, but you're never going to lose. Next up, we got Anakin. I don't even know if Anakin wants to run the ATRTs. You could probably get away without running them. Just have your own organic deck. He's still good. He's still the same old Anakin, so that's why he's up here. Next up, we got Padme. She benefits from ATRTs just as pushing thing, not having to deal with meta. I think she might end up moving up if the meta moves away from ATSC, because she can fight real well against other cheap units. So she basically stays the same. Nothing big here. And then next up, we're going to move to B. These guys are really like A2s. Like, most of the Rebel heroes are playable now with these guys being in the game. Just because you can do so much around them. You kind of have to build your deck around them, but still. First up, we'll go to Lando. This was a little iffy. I was thinking about moving him up, but Nia Nub behind these dudes is powerful. Wrecks a whole bunch of stuff. And just like the energy you get from them, being able to put these things out more often. You can still swarm with them, you still be fine too. Also, with the bomber change, you can also get a lot more bombers out with Landos. So, keeping him where he was a tough decision, but I think just like other people benefited more from the changes. So he stays where he is. Next up we got Ezra. Basically the same thing. Put out Kanan in front of these guys, have him block, do a bunch of damage. It's just basically everybody else. Like, all the Rebel guys got a little bit better, but these guys just kind of stayed the same relative to everybody else, so he's still in B. Leia. This was another tough one because you throw them down to RTs and then you run up to a turret and drop your thing. But still, Bomber's gonna wreck you, and that hasn't changed. And then Base is another one. You drop shirt behind it, it's great. It's just like everybody else. Everybody got better, but they're all kind of staying the same. Down here, next up, Luke actually moved up because of the change to Kenobi. I didn't move Kenobi just because you can still, with all the text running around, you still don't have to use them. But like for 5 energy, he's pretty decent now. He's still a body, and if you're able to take over somebody, then like his energy is not as expensive as it seems. Luke can actually defend these pretty well if you get out in front and can deflect some shots too. But still, other guys, same old story. Everybody got better, but other guys are still better with the ATRTs. Next up, I got the C rank, which has nobody right now. It's just one of those things, everybody's pretty good, except for the D heroes. At the very bottom, we got Sabine. She's just, like, not good. She doesn't do enough damage for her health, so she either needs a health buff or she needs more damage. Her new unique's alright. It can back up the ATRTs pretty well. But, and still, like, they changed the range on her stuff. So, whenever she dashes back, she dashes out of her attack range. So she's got to move up. So she loses tons of DPS. It's just, they need to fix her. And then we also have Cassian. I just don't think he does enough damage. Yeah, you can sit back and peg people, but biggest thing he's got going for him, he's got a taunt. So against turret divers, you can taunt things, but I still don't think he's that great compared to everybody else. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Rebel side. Next up, we're going to the dark side. Number 1 leader. This is a big change, actually. This is where, for all the Empire sides, you gotta be able to deal with ATRT efficiently. And it's gonna take a while for people to figure out. I think it's the same thing as like when Anakin showed up. Everybody was like, oh, Anakin's OP, he's crushing everybody. But it's one of those things, you kind of just have to adjust your playstyle, adjust your decks, and then it won't be as bad as it is now. But number 1, this was also really tough because it's all kind of new, so somebody could come out of the woodworks that's like super good against dealing with the meta. But first up, we got Callus. He can still run ATSD if he wants. He can run Swarm. Or I don't want to die to an ATRT kind of Swarm type thing. I think the thing is he's so much AoE damage and he does so much damage with 10%. So dealing with the ATRTs is going to be really good. Just because he can go up and whack him. He can tank him because he's got a fair amount of health. So he just deals with them fairly well. Yogar actually might be better. I might have to use him. Or put him up, sorry. But we'll have to see. Right now, it's going to be a toss-up, but you throw down Yogar and you, when they drop the ATRTs and you speed up Callus and he's just going to wreck stuff. He's just all around good. He's still got the stun. It's not going to work against ATRTs, I'm pretty sure. They have a little spaghetti code sometimes, but it mostly only affects Empire units. But he still does tons of damage. He still can tank a whole bunch, so that's why he's number 1. And he's versatile. Next up, we have Bossk. And you guys are saying, what? It's Bossk? No way. Big thing about Bossk is, one, he can net the ATRTs, which is kind of crazy. So it gives you a little bit more time. But he's just gained so much energy on leader deaths. So you kill any leader, and you're gold. IG, I still don't think's any good. His explosive shot is actually pretty good against the ATRTs. But it's just he gets so much energy when people die. It's insane. And that's really good for killing people. Like his ability, he can just catch things off guard so easily. There's still a lot of organic stuff running around, so I have him number 2. Next up, got the guy that got the buff. Darth Maul. He's just... This one I was kind of iffy on. Because I don't know how well he's going to do with ATRTs. These guys don't do anything to tech. Other than damage them. They don't slow him down or anything. So it's going to be rough. But he's still the king of tower dives. He's got decent DPS. But he can also tank the ATRTs, which is really nice. And if you can catch a hero in between them with his skill, you can deal a lot of damage to him as well. So he's number 3. It might change. He's just really good at being super aggressive. So that's why he's here. He's also one of the guys that can like switch between metas no problem. Like he can run a whole bunch of different things and it won't hurt him as much. And then finally, number 4. This one might surprise a lot of people. And they might not agree with it, but I have Emperor up in the S tier. Having an extra set of blades in it is insanely good. Especially if they're high health or high level. But like most people, like this is kind of going off level 3, but they still, you can get the charge damage on those guys. It's so good. Also his ability doing like 350% damage to both of them, and then whatever's behind it is insane. So you're just kind of shitting DPS out on the ATRTs, which helps out a lot. He's still a little tough to play, but it's going to be hard for people to push in front of the ATRTs as well. Just because they're so quick. So they're going to get up real quick, and then you're going to be able to do a whole bunch of damage to them. And then next up, we got the A tier. These guys are alright. It's going to be a little tough to tell. These guys can move up or down pretty quickly, depending on how they end up doing. But first up, we got Vader. Thing with Vader, he's just so tanky still. Afra's super good. You pull in the hero, you pull in everything, and then you just stun it. Or you can like bomber it and just do massive AoE. So it's really hard to protect ATRTs against Vader. And he can tank a whole bunch of stuff, so you don't have to worry about him getting on the tower because you just stand in front of things and you just take damage. Next up, we got Thrawn. Thrawn's king counter pushing. If you're allowed to just sit there and shoot big heavy things, you're gonna spawn a lot of stormtroopers. So he's still pretty good. He might end up moving up. We'll see. But he still has the same problem. AoE still wrecks him. And if a whole bunch of like Heras and giant type X-Wings are like shooting at you, he's still gonna have a little bit of a rough time. Next up we got Krennic. Again, another guy that can move up just because he's got a shit ton of DPS, and attacking high health things helps him out a lot with his ability. I still think the one thing keeping him down is his unique. It's just not that good. But like I said, this is another guy that could end up moving up pretty quickly. Next up we got Kylo. Another guy that can move up. Mostly just because of the TIE Fighter. It helps with the new TIE Fighter. It helps with your set bonus, which isn't that great, but just having it is okay. Because if you TIE Fighter and then you do 30% more damage to tech stuff, so you could tear through those things real quick. But it's like 5 energy and you have no units on board, which can hurt you, so it's going to be tough. But I think Kylo can actually deal with him decently well. And then if they have an AoE kind of build, you can just dive towers like crazy. Like, they can try and AoE you, but you're taking 50% less damage, so it's not going to do much to you. And then next up, we got the Fallen King. We got Boba. He doesn't fall too far, but Slave One's not going to be as good with RTs running around. It'd still be nice to like clean up some stuff and then nuke it with your ability, but it's just not as effective as the other guys, and it's not as effective as it used to be. Especially because I don't know if you're going to be able to run ATST for a while. So we'll see how it goes. You can still take out leaders, but it's going to be a little bit harder to get to them than it was before. Alright, next up we got the B tier. These guys are kind of hit or miss. And it really depends on what you end up playing. Seventh Sister, she does great single target damage, but I have a feeling it's going to be hard to push through with her. One thing that might actually end up helping her out is the new droid. I think this might end up being really good with her, because she's going to be in front and this guy's going to be behind just blasting away. So she might end up moving up too. Like, I know I've been saying this for a lot of people, but it really comes down to the best way to defend against the ATRTs. And I think that's really up in the air right now. I think there's a lot of ways you can do it, and it's just about finding which way ends up being the most effective. Next up we got Cad. I know a lot of people don't like Cad. I'm not one of them. Like, I hate his unique. But I think against Swarm, he's just so good. His grenade might actually... Like, his AoE damage is going to be decent. I don't know if it's going to be enough to deal with the new metas, but... and also dying. But the problem is you don't want to die. Especially, like, if you can die on the RTs, then that's fine. But if you die before they come out, then you're kind of screwed. He needs a better unique. He actually might end up getting higher. But for right now, he's got decent AoE. But I just don't think he's strong enough to move up. Next up, we got a guy that's fallen down. Tarkin. I know I might get a little hate from a few people, but he's just so meta dependent. And I don't think he has an easy way of dealing with the RTs. You can, but it puts you at risk, and depending who you're playing against. It's a very fine line with him, and it can be tough to walk it properly, so that's why he's down here. I still think he can end up moving back up, but it's just one of those things. I think other guys have an easier time dealing with stuff, so that's why he's down here. Next up, we got the C tier. First up, Grievous. I still think you just boomerang. Like, if people stop using Partisan, he'll be good. But until that time, like, there's just no coming back from him. He's kind of getting a little bit better because there's a lot more single, like, droids, especially with the new one coming out. But I'm still not impressed with his ability to deal with Boomerang. So until that is fixed, I still think he's going to be down here. And then we got Dengar, who I thought about moving up just because of Forlom. Like, I think you're going to be able to take out one of the RTs really well with Forlom and Dengar. But his grenade's a little weak, so it doesn't help out too much. And the biggest thing I could think of is you can play a really dangerous game with Dengar. Is you let them take your turret really early on. Like, as soon as they drop the RTs, you just let them take your turret. And then you have the extra damage. You get an extra 20% damage. Which at level 4 is like 18 more damage. So you're going to be able to wreck a whole bunch of things. But the thing is, if you can't get 2 towers, you're just going to end up losing. So that's why he's down here. He might end up moving up, but I just don't think Forlom does that much damage to validate him moving up too much. Just because he's going to have trouble defending. And then finally, we got the D tier. We got GI. I still think him... This was a little rough. Because his spin ability, like his attack, is okay. But you just have to be so close. I mean, you put yourself in so much danger with him. Especially with all the tech stuff around that's decent. His passive isn't the greatest. And his unique still I have no idea why they kept that boomerang throw. It just makes him so bad. To get rid of that, he could be good, because his brother could take down those guys pretty well, the RTs pretty well. But for now, he's really bad. And needs a fair amount of help. And finally, oh, how the mighty have fallen. We have 40th Vader. Tanky stuff is not good for 40th Vader. You want to get the heroes and you want to get the kills. And having 2 big tanky objects in your way is going to be tough to deal with. His ability doesn't do hardly any damage to him. And he has no unique to speak of. So I think he's almost worse. He's probably worse than GI at the moment. So there's no reason to use him. Like, Callus does something better than him. GI's even better than him. You just don't want to use him. Because you can't deal with the RTs. You can't deal with an AoE meta. You just really can't deal with anything at the moment. So he's there. He's at the bottom now. And then finally, we're going to get to my fail 5 here. I changed it a little bit so you can see where the other guys were the previous week. So I have Hera at number 1. She was at number 4, so you can see it here. I think Hera's just all around really good. Tons of AoE damage. Can deal with tech really well. Gets extra energy. With Chopper being 2 energy, she can run a fair amount of different decks. So she can shift to whatever the meta changes to. And she's number 1. Next up, we got 40 Luke, who was unranked last week, or last time. He just, all the tech running around, he's so good. Nerve gas, the biggest thing that kept him down was nerve gas, and now with RTs, you just don't have to worry about it. You can protect them really well with his ability. You can dance around the map really well. You don't have to put yourself in danger if you don't want to. So he's number 2. Number 3, we got Callus, who hasn't changed. I just don't think he's as good as Hera and 40 Luke, but he's still really good. Does tons of damage. Is pretty tanky. His unique might actually be useful for a change. which is one reason he kept them down before. We'll see how it goes. Then we got Ray, who is basically the organic version of 40 Luke. So if you end up running into a whole bunch of organic guys, she's going to be really good. Get a whole bunch of free energy by taking over people. She can deflect stuff, and she also gets a buff from the AT. Or she gets her set bonus from ATRT, which is really nice. And finally, at number 5, we got Bosk. So much energy. Just like one kill is basically game changing. And if you get more than one, it's basically over. Alright guys, that's my list. Tier list for this week. I guess not this week, but this patch. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I talked a lot about the ATRTs, but I think they're going to be a big shift in the meta. Sorry if I kept repeating myself over and over again, but I might end up doing another tier list pretty soon, depending on how things work out. But we'll see how it goes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you got any comments, leave them below, and I'll try and get to them. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you guys later.